Hello and welcome to a live stream. I think there's maybe one viewer at the moment. I'm going to wait around just a little bit before introducing before starting, really, because I was able to actually start almost exactly on time here, which is unusual for me. I'll check my, yep, I have sound, I have video, just waiting to see if I have anybody joining me before I get going. Maybe not. This might be more like a recorded video. Hold on, I'm gonna get a power supply for my iPad here. All right. Well, I don't know that I've got anybody really here, but I'm going to get going. The goal today, this is a Olympus Stone that I just received from Greece. I had a very nice email conversation with Mikhail, who sells these. The very first thing that I did when I assumed that this stone, when it arrived, was mined, but only roughly prepared for use. That's not unnormal or unexpected. So the very first thing that I did with this stone was to dress the stone, which really means flatten it. And the way that I did that was to take some silicon carbide sandpaper and hold it flat against. See it's larger than this flattening plate, this Atoma plate. So I can bend and hold it flat against the plate, and then I use that to flatten the stone. And the stone was not flat. It had slight variation in on its surface, but that turned out not to be a big deal. I started with 80 grit and got it flat with 80 grit. That took maybe, I don't know, 4 minutes of use with checking. Then I went to this stone, which is about 600 grit. This is a diamond flattening stone, which is flat. So I refined the flatness with this stone, and then I went to 1500 grit to do a final texturing of the surface of this stone. Now the way that I do this is that I check flatness by holding the stone flat with a strong light going in this direction. And then I take a straight edge, hang on, my wrist doesn't bend that far. Take a straight edge and then run the straight edge up and down with the strong light in the back. And I flatten until I can't see light underneath the straight edge. So a very simple procedure, very quick and accurate enough for my use, certainly. So I'm going to get started. The razor that I'm going to hone is this Carl Friedrich urn. I've honed this razor several times before. It's kind of a mule razor for me. I bought it. It already had quite a bit of hone wear. It's got some pitting. It's got some abnormalities in the finish. So this has always been. I mean, it looks great. The scales are great. And at some time I might make an effort to do a little refurbishing on it. But for the moment, it's a great razor, shaves well, and it's great to test edges with. Now, Mikhail tells me that this stone has a range of from medium abrasion for a razor, which is in the neighborhood of 4K, up through final finish. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to test that out. I'm going to do sort of a one hone refinish. I'm going to joint the edge on the stone. Jointing simply flattens the apex without removing a ton of material up into the bevel. So it takes a shaped apex and just flattens it a little bit. And I'll use that to I'll try to recover that edge. This is my first use of the stone, so who knows how it's going to perform. That's part of the experiment here. Hey Rick, how you doing? I'm going real light. This was, when I was resurfacing it, this was quite a muddy stone. So I'm guessing that it's not slate, but that it is shale. Flatness falls off here, but I don't take the razor up into that area. So I didn't take all this material off to get this flat. I'm building the slurry using light amount of force and using a corner of the slurry stone. It makes it easier to break material off the stone. Now this is a piece of this stone, so material is being brought up from this stone and also from the surface itself. So Rick, this is a Olympus stone from Greece. You missed my introduction. No problem with that. There was nobody here when I did the introduction. So at the moment, I think it's just you and me. Couple of old farts. You're not that late. As you can tell, I'm just digging into this. And it's my first use of the stone, so I'm going to take some time and get used to it. Let's see, after all of that scraping around, let's see what the surface feels like. I don't feel any pieces of the surface dislodged. That can be a real problem with natural stones. And so it's worth checking to see if you can feel, chunks, but I'm not feeling chunks. As I said, so you weren't around for that. Yeah, old farts, unite. When I was flattening the stone, so I'll go back over this for you, Rick. What I did when I get any natural stone, I assume that it's not flat. I assume it was mined and that it's up to me, the user of the stone, to dress it to the level of flatness that I want. And what I did, Rick, was I took a flattening plate, the back side of a flattening plate, which is flat, and I took some silicon carbide, and this is my standard practice. I take silicon carbide paper, and I started with this grit, with 80 grit. And so I take that and bend it around the plate, real tightly around the plate, and then start to flatten. This was not flat when I started, and I took about 4 minutes. It took almost no time to take. It was crowned. The shape of the stone was crowned, and it took. Oh, hey, JPO. So it took about 4 minutes with 80 grit to get this to flat. And I then went to this Shapton diamond lapping plate, which actually has some precision to its flatness, but it actually doesn't matter. But this plate does have a measured precision for tolerances on its flatness. This is about 600 grit. And I took this to refine the shape. And then I went to 1500 grit silicon carbide paper again to do the final finish. And Rick, what I do is I use, before I start and while I'm going through the procedure, I use a straight edge, and I put a strong light going in this direction, and then I look directly at the strong light and look for light escaping underneath the straight edge. And if I don't see light escaping underneath the straight edge, I know that the surface is flat. So I did that. The whole procedure took about 15 minutes, and a good part of that time was simply checking flatness. So I'm going to thicken the slurry for JPO and for Rick. What I've done, this is a Carl Friedrich urn. I actually jointed the edge, which is something I rarely do. And the reason I did that was Mikhail, who sold me the stone, he tells me that this stone has pretty broad range. So I'm going to do a refresh of the edge. Now the apex has been taken off, so I'm going to do a refresh of the edge and see if I can bring it from a flat apex to a refined apex using the stone. My approach is going to be to sort of treat the stone like a cauticule, where I'm going to start with a thick slurry and then thin it out. This is a slurry stone of the same material as the underlying stone, so we're gonna treat it in the same way that we would treat a cauticule. All right, let's see what we get. First time using this. The now this is finished with the surface texture. Well, the surface has been retextured now with the slurry stone. I can feel the surface of the stone itself is I think I'm going to round this. The surface of the stone, I can kind of feel I can feel this edge, so I'm going to round that edge. And JPO, this is my first use of the stone. So I'm feeling my way into it. Oh, take a look. See, this stone gives up mud very, very easily. So I'm thinking that it's a shale-based. If anybody knows, let me know. How much pressure am I applying with the half strokes? What I do with pressure is I'm not a lot. And what I do with pressure, yeah, that's better. What I do with pressure is I use enough that I can feel the edge if I'm finishing. If I'm really trying to go from what most people would call what most people would call a bevel set, then I'll kind of guerrilla my pressure because I don't really care about the condition of the apex until I get most of the geometry of the bevel set, and then what I'll do from that point on is go to what I'm doing now, which is to give enough edge bias that I can feel the edge on the stone. As you can see, I've already got, well, maybe you can't see, but I already have some undercut going here. I'll be honest with you, right now, I think this stone's going to need some breaking in, because right now I'm really not loving the way the surface feels. It's to the finger, it feels flat, but on the edge I can feel undulations, and it may be that it's self-slurring. It may be that it's giving up bits of material. There's one. And that can, with a new stone, that can happen for a little while. Lots of times you kind of have to work your way down into a layer that is good for sharpening. It certainly got to this point. I'm not going up into this area, although that area is smooth to touch and not different in feel as on the apex. I now have an apex that's very easy to create undercut with. But it's really surprising to me. There we go. So I think just running the razor back and forth is going to help do a little burnishing of this surface. It's getting smoother as I do this. But the overall feel is not great. I'm not loving the feel. That may change now. That's part of getting used to a new stone. So, as I said before, I'm getting great undercut. So it's been cutting well. I'm going to dilute this. Let's bring this back. Do a little dilution here. I'll check in on the comments. Oh no, Josiah, the guy who's got the stone collection, the two guys who have the stone collection are JPO, who is up late, and Eric, Cajun Blade. They have far better collections than I do. I tend to buy what works for me and stay with it. Let's see. I want JPO. Looks like one of my black Laloon stones. Are they shale? What type of stone is that, JPO? Because this does not feel like slate. This feels more like shale, and it creates mud like shale. That looks like the kind of mud you would get from heavily compacted shale. Oh, okay. So there we go. Yeah. So what's your take on the Laloon? So far, I'm not loving the feel here. Um, is this a break-in thing? Will it break in your experience? Is this the will does the feel change over time? Listen to that. I need to figure out what that is. That's just not great. I think I'm going to round this again, see what I get. Yeah, so I have not used a Laloon, so getting some feedback from you guys will be great. This is really bugging me. I'm gonna do some rounding, see if that helps. And again, all I've done is to dress this stone. So lots of times with a new stone, you just have to get it to lay a layer that works for you. My Zuko JNAT, which was very expensive, my first few uses of that were pretty uninspiring. And I simply did what I'm doing here. I played around with the shape until the stone kind of came alive. And from that point on, it's been great. I'm going to wash this off. There's an area of material right here. So it may be that I need to take a layer off. There's an area of material right here that you may not be able to see. Yeah, you can. You see it's slightly lighter. The texture is slightly different there too. So I'm going to raise just a light slurry. I'm going to do it across this area to see if I can knock that down a little bit. Now this stone is flat, but it's canted this way. The flat surface, as I received it, the stone was not level. It was canted this way, so it's flat, but not level. Obviously, I could adjust that with some wedges, but it contributes to keeping the slurry on this side, so it's not a detriment. But I would love it if this thing felt smoother. You can hear how this changes in pitch as I run across the surface. And yet it feels, now this part does not feel smooth. So let's see if, oh wow, we're starting to get people here. Hey Mike, how are you? Yeah, it does sound rough. I'm glad you can pick that up. I'm going to go with I'm going to retexture it with this stone diamond. This is a diamond lapping plate. See if we can take off a little layer here. I explained earlier how I dressed the stone, and I did dress it to 1500 um, grit silicon carbide, and it was smooth. So it feels to me as if the stone is giving up some of its surface when I actually work on it with the stone. So maybe what I'll do, if this is smooth now, this feels very smooth. Maybe what I'm going to do is just use a DMT slurry here and see how that feels. Yeah, I chamfer them too. This was chamfered, but oh, that feels completely different. Yeah, that's what you want to feel right there. Yeah, that's what you want to feel. So we're gonna suggest that this slurry stone uh, is not doing me any favors in creating a slurry on this stone. Now this feels really good, and this is how it felt after I dressed it. You know, to by hand. If to my hand it felt really smooth and polished. This is what you want. And since you were able to pick up sound before, you can probably feel or hear that this is smooth, and the feel is now muddy, soft. It's like being on top of a really hard, very fine mud brick. That's what you want right there. That feels fantastic. And I'm now modulating pressure so I can feel what's happening at the apex, and I'm getting feedback from that. Whereas before, all I got was annoyance. So I'm probably going to give up on the slurry stone, which is no big deal because not planning to sharpen with that slurry stone anyway, just there to raise a slurry. Using the diamond plate to raise a slurry was by far the better way to go. I'm going to add more. This is now feeling really good. Let me catch up with comments here. Yeah, thanks, Josiah. It feels much better. Oh, thanks, JPO. That's very helpful. Well, I can, but the slurry stone is less important. The slurry stone is the same material as this Olympus stone, and so if I can use a very fine grit diamond plate, I'm not too worried about raising a slurry that way. The diamond plate texture feels fantastic, and so the diamond plate will texture the surface, and it feels great. So I think for me, I'm not sure I'm going to put much effort into the slurry stone because this is really fantastic. Get rid of some of this. Get some more wetness going for us. See how this feels. And now getting back to my discussion for Rick, pressure I'm using is just enough to get feedback from the apex. The reason I keep the razor at an angle is so that the impact of the slurry and the abrasive is glancing. If I did this, then the impact is direct on. So this gives me a slightly gentler abrasive effect on the apex than if I went back and forth like this. Now I don't think, it does not feel, it's difficult because I've not used this surface before. There's not, the surface feels soft, and I don't know what kind of an apex I have. I'm certainly able to, I'm certainly getting a lot of undercut, but I have probably too much, I have so much slurry that, here, let's try it with less. Now I'm getting undercut. Yeah, that's better. If you have a ton of slurry, then sometimes it's actually hard to read. You get a false, kind of a false positive on how good your apex is. I feel like this razor could use a little work in this direction. Sometimes it needs to get pushed. And now we're feeling pretty good. Let's do a test. See if I've got any kind of an edge. Let's see, I'm trying to, since JPO has a lot of experience with this sort of thing, I'm definitely interested in keeping up with his comments. Also, he and I speak nerd, so whoops, oh no. Oh, well, we definitely have an apex again. For those who joined late, I did a jointing of this edge. So as I'm suspecting, it's not super perfect there. So I'll work on the toe. Let's see if I can feel what's going on. Yeah, I can feel a little burr actually there. No burr on this side. So let's this is knife sharpening 101. And this is how I knife sharpen. I do that. I knife sharpen almost entirely by feel. Not on the first day that I did it. But over the years I've gotten to where I can tell what's happening just by feeling the edge. Let's get some slurry again. Yeah, Rick, I see you. I'm not, but my father was a country nerd, so I was raised by somebody who grew up on a farm. So I was treated just like he was treated, which meant slave labor. Oh, hey, Eric, how are you? Well, you missed some early trials and tribulations. This is the Olympus Stone. I guess you probably saw. I'm trying to get the razor in shape using old school methods here. The surface was not great when I started with the stone, and that is because of this. Turned out because of the slurry stone was messing me up. Um, but I solved that by using the diamond lapping plate to create the slurry, and that conditioned the surface nicely, and then create a really nice slurry. I know you have this stone, Eric, so any feedback you want to give me on usage, let me know. Mikhail said it would. What I did before I started was I jointed the edge because Mikhail told me that this is has a broad range, and so I thought it would be good to bring the apex back, or see what that process was like. And as I mentioned to everybody else, yeah, this isn't TI, by the way. This is a urn. This is a Carl Friedrich urn. Um, but this has been through a fair number of honings, and I haven't. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Very good. Very good. Let's see how we're doing towards the toe. Very good. Okay, so we still have right there, not picture postcard perfect. Let's see what it feels like. Yeah, I can feel it coming off there. This is not beginner-friendly technique. Sorry about that. What I'm doing, yep, now I'm starting to feel slight movement in the apex. I think this stone's giving up surface material. Okay, that feels a little better. Mikhail tells me to finish under running water. That's generally advice given when the stone gives up material. Does that happen on your stone, Eric? Yeah, okay, so you use DMT on yours. Um, Not sure what 6 of 10 means. I'll need a little bit of explanation. Yeah. See you, JPO. Thanks for coming by. I know it was late. I know it's it's midnight there, so no problem. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna get some water in here. So Eric, this is my first use of the stone, and so thought I would bring everybody in on my trials and tribulations with it. See you, Rick. So what was your break-in, Eric, if you're still around? What was your break-in of this stone like? I got to tell you, the surface isn't, I mean, it's feeling good now. And I'm really lightening up. I'm now really trying to feel the apex, which I am. I'm getting very good feedback on the apex. This is the first time I've had it. Very good feedback on the apex. And do you, Eric, if you're around, do you follow the advice of running water, or do you finish on plain water, or do you finish on misty slurry? Got any information for me? I mean, this is feeling amazing right now. I'm going to add some water. This is I now have not quite a misty slurry, but I'm going to create one. Also going to check sharpness. I'm expecting sharpness to be good here. Can I go get another peanut? Sharpness is good, but it's not where we want to be yet. It's much better on the toe. I'll be right back. I'm going to get a better peanut. Okay. This is just exciting. I don't know if anybody's still here. The interface I have. Hello, Cody. No, you're not late. I'm still screwing around. Okay, so now I have a better peanut. We're in real good shape here, but I would say we're not at a finishing stage. Toe is okay, but not super good. So let's see what I'm going to do. Maybe a little more with this. I'm going to bring up just a little bit more slurry, and then continue. I just started to feel the apex on the stone a little better. So I'm going to continue with slurry, then go to misty slurry, then go to probably not water. The The recommendation is to use this under running water. I'm going to probably, instead of doing that, I'll probably use ONR. See what we have here. So one of the problems I have with the interface that my streaming software, I can see comments, but I can't see if there's anybody there. So I'm just going to move ahead. Feel free. I think Eric may have left. I asked him a couple questions. All right, let's see if we have made an impact. Made an impact on sharpness here. Not great. Not great. If anything, went backwards. Put a lot more. Gotta get a. Well, that's just for grins. I'm checking the comments, so feel free to now I'm playing around with pressure to see if this is a stone that wants more pressure. See if we changed sharpness at all. Yes. Yes, that changed sharpness. Okay, so I've learned something there. I'm going to ONR it. We're at an hour. This is my my method of getting around using running water. The ONR will mix with water. The ONR is mixed with water, so there's a solution here that has very little surface tension, and that allows the edge to really glide over the surface, reducing the abrasive qualities of the surface. I'm not really using. There's a little bit of slurry left, but not enough to make a difference. So I'm really just using the surface here to burnish, do a little bit of abrasion on the edge. That's why I'm using half strokes. I'm just feeling my way into this. I'm going to go back to the other side because it handles the slurry better. And the reason it handles the slurry better for those who've joined me is that the stone is actually canted like this. The surface is flat, but it's not level. I'm not putting a ton of pressure with my left hand here, but I am making sure that the center is really getting to the stone. I'm getting a good undercut from the ONR. Very nice. All right, let's see if we've made an improvement or if we've gone backwards. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is push into the cloud right here. Yeah, this is excellent. Yeah, this is excellent. This is where we're going to quit. This is where we're going to stop. This is really, really good. And it's good all the way up to the toe. All right. All right, so I'm going to declare success. Quite a journey with my first use on this stone. I'm looking forward to using it some more and trying to figure out my best approach with it. I'm definitely, I know Eric and a couple of other people have used this, so I'm going to leverage feedback from the small community that I know to help myself up the learning curve. Anyway, I'm going to call it here. Thank you to everybody for joining. I don't know if there's anybody left, but thank you if you're there and you're listening to me. And I'll see you in the shave test for this razor. Bye.